there is a very close similarity between Hollywood and politics. The right wing knows it, the left wing does not.
This is legendary cartoonist, writer, and social commentator Aaron McGruder, famous for creating the comic strip and TV show The Boondocks. And he is about to deliver a masterclass in the most important aspect of American politics, optics.
Bush #1 was this nerdy guy that nobody liked. He didn't have any charisma. He had a lot of power. But he really wasn't very photogenic. He just wasn't that guy. So they said, okay, we're going to stick you with Reagan. Reagan was a movie star. Everybody liked Reagan, at least everybody white. Reagan made white people feel good.
It is truly disheartening that over 20 years have passed since this speech, and the Republicans used the same exact strategy in 2016 with Donald Trump. His celebrity persona helped launder his image enough with the general public that out-of-touch voters could look past his unfiltered bigotry and devastating policies and still vote for him.
Why? Image. Be smart enough to understand that it's image. Is it superficial? Yes. Is it silly? Yes. But it matters. I'm going to say this here because it's so important. Al Sharpton's haircut matters. It matters. Because he's running for president. It matters. Should it matter? No. But you know what? It does. That's image.
Absolutely spot on. Countless examples over the past 2 decades illustrate McGruder's argument perfectly, including
I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
Why did you take issue with the suit?
Because you know the image makers in the White House. Here's a president coming out at such a serious moment where he should be addressing the country on such a serious matter, and he looked like he was on his way to a party at the Hamptons, which would have been fine if he addressed the issue at hand. But instead, he started talking about the economy, saying that was more important than Syria. And I just thought it detracted from the seriousness of the moment. To me, at least he could have won whatever he wanted if he addressed the issue head on. But to come out and start talking about the economy, to me, just detracted from the seriousness of the moment, and I thought the suit was a metaphor for his lack of seriousness.
And with that, I just have 2 more words to say. Obama out. Because Michael Jordan is the Michael Jordan of greatness. He is the definition of somebody so good at what they do that everybody recognizes. That's pretty rare.
Michael J. Jordan.
All of the iconic clips we've seen so far show the power of the president's image and the importance of marketing them to the broader American public. In Bush's case, while being a demonic war criminal responsible for the deaths of millions of people behind closed doors, dodging the shoes thrown at him portrays strength and poise under pressure, while his infamous golf clip shows the American voter that he's just another average Joe when not in the Oval. But for anyone tuned in to politics in the news, we know this couldn't be farther from the truth, but we also know most people don't look past the images they see on their screens and refuse to dig deeper into issues that affect their lives. Barack Obama's examples are much more obvious, and because of his natural charisma, charm, and easygoing attitude, you probably did not think about the myriad of war crimes he signed off on himself. And that's not even talking about how he and the Dems capitulated to Republicans on the Affordable Care Act and failed to pass any meaningful, long-lasting climate change, immigration system reform, gun safety, and criminal justice reform legislation. And there may be no better image to summarize his cool guy appeal than giving Michael Jordan a Presidential Medal of Freedom, which in itself is a marketing device used by the president to gain some positive public relations, whether the recipient is deserving of the recognition or not.
So far, 10 House Democrats and 1 Senate Democrat have directly called on the president to exit the race. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer released a statement Wednesday night addressing the calls for Biden to step aside, saying, quote, "As I have made clear repeatedly, publicly and privately, I support President Biden and remain committed to ensuring Donald Trump is defeated in November."
Jen O'Malley Dillon, the campaign manager, has already put out a memo saying that the campaign realizes they are clear-eyed about what happened during this debate, but at the same time, they continue to argue that the numbers they're seeing shows this race as a toss-up. So I imagine that could be some of the argument that they make to the Senate Democrats, hoping to stem any more potential defections.
Every time there's a slip, a Vice President Trump instead of Harris, a Putin instead of Zelensky, people will focus on something that might not have even been noticed at past times. And to the extent over the coming months that all the attention is on whether he is fit and able to do this job instead of on Trump's lies, we will be set back. And I think that's why distinguished members of our caucus, the person who would head the Intelligence Committee, who would head the Armed Services Committee, a range of people that have no ideological conflict about the president, who are scattered across the country, are saying, we see the numbers. And Mr. President, just as you deal with the reality of conflict around the world, deal with the reality of the numbers here. And when you look at those numbers, we don't see a path forward for a Democratic Congress and a White House that is occupied by someone of President Biden's skill, but is instead occupied by a criminal and his gang.
And we're seeing the same thing today with congressional Dems and the Democratic voter base turning on President Joe Biden after we've seen the toll the past 4 years have taken on him. For us leftists, it was never just about the debate performance, but rather about how the Dem party operates, and Biden's inner circle have seen this coming, let's be real, and for one reason or another, refused to take action to find a different candidate before things got to this point.